the bittersweet end of a delicious era. Tomorrow, the West End Bakery in Mishawaka will close its doors for good. The family-owned shop has been serving up sweet treats for nearly a century now. Tonight, ABC 57's Vahid Sadrzadeh takes a look back at the neighborhood staple and the secret to their sweet success.
Just south of the St. Joe River in Mishawaka, Indiana, sits a quiet, unassuming neighborhood where, from a bird's eye view, buildings bearing the same size and shape, worn down brick, and sun-washed signs signaling an aging suburb. In these parts, change is a rare occurrence. At 414 West 7th Street, the same old is comforting.
Heart and soul of the community.
West End Bakery's simple yet proven recipes, satisfying Michiana taste buds since 1928.
It's really never changed a lot that I know of. I've been going here for about 50 years or 55 years.
And you could say that consistency.
Yeah, we're an example of that, I guess, right? We've stayed a lot of it the same.
That might be the secret to West End Bakery's sweet success. But after 93 years, owner Greg Phobie says it's time to bake the last batch.
We had it figured out, Les and I, like 7, 8 years ago. He figured, man, I'll work till 70, and I'd be 62 at that time. And we thought that was about right, you know, so we've been going with that ever since. So just so happens that the time has come, it's now.
Phobie's grandparents opened the shop in the late 20s.
Grandpa, I think, was kind of into baking back in Belgium and stuff. And then before he started here, he worked for the Oliver Hotel. They started right down the street, about a block away where the parish offices are. Right next door to that was the original bakery building, which got moved to Logan and 7th, which is a house now. They moved into here and lived in the back behind the store. That's where they lived.
Despite the Great Depression and World War II, the business and the area thrived.
There was a dry goods store next door, the building is Arts and Elements, and then furniture store across the street, at DeClute's Floral there, a hardware store, then on the corner, like a meat market, like a grocery store. Yeah, it was a whole neighborhood. People didn't have to go far for anything. Anything they needed was really close, you know.
Phobie's father would eventually take over the bakery, which meant a lot of visits from young Greg, who went to St. Bavo's school down the street. Visits that eventually led to a new job.
I actually started when I was about junior in high school. The deal was, if I buy you your uncle's car, you're starting to work. I didn't have a choice. If you want that car, you start to work. So that was around 74 or 5. And then in 76, the day after I graduated, I was in the hands of Les there.
His dad made me train him.
What was that like?
Well, he was a kid too.
At that time, Laszlo Kinzis, or Les, was just starting to make his mark in Michiana as the go-to baker. That was 47 years ago, and not much has changed.
The recipes that we had 50, 60 years ago are still the same.
I think people walk in and they see the store kind of resembling what it always has, and they kind of like that, a lot of people. And if it would be totally modern, I don't know if everybody would go for that. But it changed certain things, you know, equipment here and there, and air conditioning, oh my God.
Despite those slight improvements in technology, it's always been Phobie and Kinzis.
It's been many years since we've
got into a good one?
Right.
Oh.
You work with a guy for all these years, 6 days a week. You got to remember that. You got to learn to get along, get on each other's nerves occasionally, but not too often.
Surviving each other is one thing. Working 6 days a week with long lines and even longer hours for half a century is another.
I've had this rotator cuff surgery, 2 hernia surgeries from lifting those 100-pound bags of flour.
Admittingly, the pair not as spry as they used to be. So making the decision to step down may have been easier than you think, despite their loyal customer base saying otherwise.
You're too young to retire. You can't retire. You can't do that. And all that. I've been here 45, 46 years. Isn't that long enough, you know?
This is all I have left.
All right, I don't think it doesn't.
One of those reliable regulars, Mishawaka Mayor Dave Wood,
This place to me is part of my family tradition, not just for my generation, but for my previous generations here. I can remember as a kid coming here with my grandfather nearly every weekend to get my beloved sprinkle donuts.
Despite turnover in recent years, those in the community are keeping the faith.
This neighborhood has gone through many transitions. Communities used to do business in downtowns and in small little neighborhood areas like this. Then all of a sudden malls came about. Well, I think now we're starting to see a return to more of the downtown, more of the experience businesses, more of the neighborhood businesses, and we're starting to see more investment in neighborhoods like this, so I'm very optimistic.
The dry goods store's been gone a long time. Hardware store probably 10 years or so gone. The grocery store probably in the late 60s was gone.
As many people that come in and out of the street, there wouldn't be as much as a reason why to go up and down our street without them.
So while storefronts have evolved and the faces of frequent patrons have diminished, during these past 9 decades, it's been less is more for West End Bakery, with maybe one small regret.
What is the secret to running a successful business for 93 years?
You try and keep your quality up. You try and do whatever you can, keep your prices reasonable, probably too reasonable. That's been one of our downfalls, I think. Do everything the best you can and put out the best product at the fairest price, and that's about it. I don't know. That's, as far as I know, that's about one of the secrets to success, I guess. But so we've kind of stuck to it all these years.
Change in this charming old part of town has never been, nor ever will be, a piece of cake.
The best known, best tasting. It's to just be really missed when it's gone, I'll tell you.
As in life, change, though, is inevitable. Gone will be the danishes and the old-fashioned donuts, the flowered-covered floors after 11-hour days.
It's the taste of Mishawaka.
And the same customer smiles that have walked through that door time and time again.
A lot of the customers can't imagine being without it, you know, but hopefully it'll continue. It might be a last-minute thing. You never know.
In Mishawaka, Vahid Sadarzadeh, ABC 57 News.
Greg Phoebe telling us if a last-minute deal isn't done, a buyer comes in to run the store. Plan B is to sell the building with everything inside. And full disclosure, we do want to mention that Greg's son, Kyle Phoebe, is the news director here at ABC 57. That bakery is going to be open one more day tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.